Hey everybody, this is KZ, and this is going to be a video that I imagine people kind of wanted from me, which is going to be a discussion analysis of the Kingdom Hearts 4 announcement, because it happened less than 24 hours ago at this point, but an exciting time. Unlike the last time they announced a massive Kingdom Hearts game, this didn't feel like it came out of nowhere, and it had a lot of lead up to it. It had a 20th anniversary celebration, a piece of art that clearly had a gap missing where Sora would be counting to four, leading us into this. It was really exciting. It was really exciting. Knocked me on my ass. If you did not see my reaction video, I put it on what is now my main channel, as I'm more of a streamer now. So there will be a link provided in the description to check that out. It's not as explosive because I was just a shaking mess for hours before it finally got announced. But I oh man, we have a lot to dig into here. Before we look at it, I guess I could talk a little bit about the logo, which I do have here. So look at this thing. Look at this thing. I feel like I mentioned a couple of times, but it's been like stray comments. I wasn't the hugest fan of the Kingdom Hearts 3 logo. I don't know. I don't know. It's just the way the like three kind of like was presented and the way the text was that I was like, eh. This one though, I like a lot. The reason that I like it a lot is it's incredibly different, but still kind of samey. We still have that usual like heart look to it. We got that crown, but the font is completely different, and it's something that I wanted. I even mentioned it a few times since KH3 came out, that if they're going to do a new saga of games, I would like the logo to be as different as possible to denote that we're in a new phase of this series. And it feels really great that Nomura and the team agreed with kind of my take, where they said that the font is entirely different because we're in a new arc, which is pretty neat. I mean, I did enjoy the other logos overall. It had its own quirks, like the K and the S would like stretch out along the bottom to denote games that Sora is not playable in, and stuff like that. There's some weird stuff they did with those logos, but it's really nice to have something a bit more fresh. So, big fan of this. So many times when I'd look at it at a distance, the four just screwed with me. Like looking at the Roman numeral four kind of like confused me at a distance every time, because the game just doesn't feel real yet. Like the announcement does not feel like real. But man, this is exciting. Anyway, enough talking about logos. We're going to talk a little bit about the announcement trailer here and my general thoughts. First up, Lost Master arc. Makes sense we would call it something like that. Uh, Previously, they called it Lost Masters in Kingdom Hearts 3 in trailers. They were they were using that as a term. So being singular now is interesting. The way they're trying to show darkness in this specific style, being like particles, is also pretty interesting. We get some text here that is incredibly Versus 13-esque, which is, a bit of a no more trademark. We get these shots of a forest before going in. We should probably address this part, since this is something that people have been talking about quite a bit here. So right when they hit this shot, they hit this thing right here, which for sweaty nerds, it's like that's the foot of like an ATST or something like that from Star Wars. And when you look at comparisons, it's the exact same. Like, I would be shocked if this was a misdirect or something. This seems to clearly just be that, which makes a lot of sense. They're going for more of a photorealistic style for this game and more of a realism look, so I wouldn't be shocked if they're going to take that opportunity to use some of the live-action Disney IP they have access to. I know a lot of people were wondering if Star Wars would make it into Kingdom Hearts 3, but that was around that period where EA had a stranglehold on the Star Wars IP, in terms of like they were the only ones making games, but then they failed to like make any good games for like 7 or 8 years in a row. So then Lucasfilm Games was like formed, and now a bunch of devs are making games. So I imagine it's been much easier for Kingdom Hearts, series that sells millions of copies be like, hey, can we just like make a world? I'm guessing this would be an Endor style world, though I wouldn't be shocked if they do their own original Forest world or something like that. Who knows if you're exploring multiple in a Star Wars type of thing? I wouldn't be shocked if this ends up being similar to like the Caribbean, where they go for something even huger, just because they have the opportunity to do a giant, well-loved world that people kind of have been anticipating for Kingdom Hearts as soon as Disney bought them. I was kind of against Star Wars and Marvel hitting Kingdom Hearts in the previous arc, mainly because it kind of felt like I liked the focus on Disney World, traditional Disney stuff, and Pixar, of course, because that kind of felt like more of the Disney identity before they became a corporation that just kind of eats other entertainment IPs, you know. But then when they started setting up Kingdom Hearts 4, the next arc, and they're like, this is a world of unreality. This is not in the same dimension as literally anything in the KH universe so far, and it's going for this realism thing, and all of that internally before I saw this thing that people pointed out being a Star Wars thing. I went, okay, now you can do this now. Because I'm like, making it separate makes a lot of sense and works within the universe, and it's something that I'm like, I'm totally cool with. Also, I would like to fight Darth Vader as a Kingdom Hearts style super boss. I feel like that would be great. It's like, I'm not going to say no to that. A lightsaber keyblade, that's cool. Also, Xemnas has been using ethereal blades, also known as dual lightsabers, forever. So it's not like I've been entirely against it, but I feel like from a story perspective and from an approach, I feel like it makes a lot more sense now. So that's my stance. I'm sure some people may still be against it. I'm all for it. I'm like, go ahead. That being said, I guess we could talk about like maybe the Marvel use now. I feel like they're not going to use any city level heroes if they're going to put in any Marvel superhero esque worlds in Kingdom Hearts 4. Mainly because Quadratum's like a metropolis city. So I feel like they might do something involving maybe the Guardians or Asgard, or even maybe even a crazier pull that doesn't that makes it so that they don't have to set the world in a city. That's my take on it. So let's move on to the trailer. Now that we've moved on the thing that people have been talking about quite a bit. The choice is yours once more. We move on to this, which really evocative of like a versus 13. Someone showed concept art, I believe, of Noctis like laying on the same couch, and it's like, yes, we're trying to bring about a lot of the visual ideas that Nomura had from that game that never came out to Kingdom Hearts, which I think is good because, you know, in the end, this series' identity has always been the brainchild of those things, and a lot of earnest feelings about, you know, and earnest storytelling about like the heart and all that kind of thing. We also have the new look for Sora, which drip wise, I like this quite a bit. I feel like this is high tier, if not to like his best look. Honestly, it's probably like his best look, frankly. It's the most like realistic, I guess, but it still has like the hallmarks of what a Kingdom Hearts character should look like for me, where it's like some of the shit's like so extra, like the collars here with the extra like buttons that are like tied down here, the multiple different layers. This all works. I also like how they said that Sora's look like this is because he's in Quadratum, so it's like the idea that his overly anime spiky hair just melts. I prefer the theory of Yozora beat his ass so bad his hair melted. Because we're gonna get into the time skip here. Granted, now this is the period for Kingdom Hearts where it's incredibly difficult to get as many things straight as possible. Straight in Kingdom Hearts, it's incredibly difficult to get all of the information like accurate in terms of stuff coming out, because it's a lot of Q&As from a Japanese developer, which tends to be, I guess, a little bit more difficult because sometimes things will get lost in translation, or maybe some things that are jokes are taken as literal. So years from now, some of this will turn out to not be real. But I believe there's an interview that said that this is a year after Melody of Memory in terms of the timeline, which would position Sora like way older, I would say. Which kind of has me feeling a little bit weird about it, where I'm like, I don't know if it's entirely accurate because Remind, halfway into Remind, is a year after Kingdom Hearts 3, and Melody of Memory is after that. So then that would be another year. So this would be 2 years up. So he'd be 18. I have no problem with him being aged up. I think that's great. Also for Haley Joel Osment, the voice actor, can maybe go a little bit deeper, which is always preferable, I feel like. But it just kind of feels weird. The time stuff's all wonky with what's happened to Sora, where it's like they're going to be talking about 7 days coming up here. So wondering about like that stuff is pretty. It's pretty interesting of what's going on entirely with like the timeline going on with him. There was also some discussion about how Nomura was deciding between doing Verum Rex next and Kingdom Hearts 4, and said he was worried about Sora, so they decided to go for Kingdom Hearts 4. This is one of those things that's going to be very interesting because that statement is incredibly exciting, but it's coming from a Japanese source of the audience. So it becomes this thing of, is that a joke? Is that literal? And then even if it is literal, is that going to pan out in the future? Or are we just going to get a Verum Rex game that tells Yozora's side of the story? And are they going to do some interesting stuff with that? I hope it's true, and maybe they get another team so Osaka team doesn't have to be the one that's like solely focusing on these games. But who knows? And I just say that so we can get more higher profile games, not for. I hope Osaka team doesn't make every single Kingdom Hearts game because I'm not one of those people that will be eternally annoying. So we got all that going on. We got a new Sora design. I think he's pretty dripped out for days. I'm a big fan of it. I enjoy the general look. We also get Strelitzia here from Union Cross. Now, what I think is interesting is the fact that one, we've been asleep in this world since 7 days ago, so this has to, I assume, 7 days after the encounter with Yozora, because I assume that that's all like canon and everything. But who knows what they're doing over there? But I imagine, yeah. I think it's interesting the concept that Sora dies in Kingdom Hearts 3 and then wakes up in Quadratum in the same way that Strelitzia is brutally fucking murdered in Union Cross and then wakes up in here, or I imagine wakes up in here. So characters with in special cases, instead of going to the final world, just get to this dimension of unreality, as the characters in Radiant Garden called it. So that's really interesting. Something to dig into the themes here, which also wraps up into the Versus 13 stuff of that game being based around the Grim Reaper and Death quite a bit, which then got completely scrubbed in 15. So we get to see Quadratum in the daytime, which is of course it's just Japan. People already docked Sora. Someone literally looked at the building that he was hanging out in, and they're like, I know the floor. That's a real building. We know where he lives. That's really great. Another thing that I'm going to roll this back, which I feel bad for, but at the very start of this trailer, they showed this building right here. And this is one of those moments that they do that looks cool for us, but I imagine being at the event was amazing. Everything shown of this building right here is the building they did the event at. So a bunch of fans got to go to a 20th anniversary event. They got to be really excited about it. Then they go into a theater, get to see this trailer before anyone else. And the trailer opens with an Unreal Engine 4 version of the building they're in, which I think is in a pretty cool, insane flex. It's also great we can see some of the details in the back that straight up were in the secret boss of KH3. So imagine, reusing those assets, scaling up That's always good. So we're gonna go ahead and skip our way back back here. This part of the trailer. So it's like a world filled with life, but it's an afterworld for us because, you know, both are dead. And then we get the dark side drop. Slamming onto the ground. When I saw this, I was like, this is crazy. They're going like full kaiju with dark side. But it's not dark side. This is like a neo dark side, which is what I'm gonna consider him until we get something like official, which probably won't be until the game's out. You know, Darkseid's known for being Dreadman with normal face. This is like big, like rabbit or like side ears type of thing, going large wings. It's fearsome in the same way like going from Shadow to Neo Shadow is, which is really exciting. One of my complaints in KH3 is I was tired of Darkseid. I'm like, come on, man. I need something cool. Also, Twilight Thorn just has been gone. He was shown in the opening trailer of Kingdom Hearts String Drop Distance, and we never saw him again. So I'm glad that Darkseid's getting a new upgrade here, and I have no problem with him being in this trailer, even an upgraded version, because it's such a part of the identity, and it's like you're gonna open the next saga of Kingdom Hearts with a trailer in which Sora is gonna fight a super Darkseid. Makes so much sense. So we got a good shot here. When I watched this, I was silently thinking, is Sora going to be in this fucking car? And it's like, no. This Darkseid's just going to cause chaos across the whole place. I love the idea of just some people are trying to take a selfie or taking photos of it and then finally run. The music is insanely good here. We have Sora doing his hero approach as we go into the gameplay section. So we have a few details coming up here. That we have since learned. So one, Sora's general look here looks pretty great. I like the general, I like the all red shirt to match with this. I think this general design's pretty nice. We have the black shoes, but we have like a yellow trim, so it's kind of like modernizing his general look for realism, while not looking too bad. This HUD, I wonder if it'll stay like this forever, where it's just going to be these on top. I would like this, to be honest. We have an EX bar. EX, who knows what that's going to be. I wonder if people like, our drive form's going to be back, our shot lock's going to be back. Personally, I don't want shot locks to come back necessarily, because that's kind of like, in terms of mechanics, that one kind of slows things down a little bit. I would like something that, speeds things up or keeps the normal pace, personally. I still use them and enjoy them, but I feel like, if you gave me the choice, I would like some entirely new mechanic, probably. So we got our EX bar, we got our MP, we got our HP here. Then we got our little HUD element. I'm glad that Nomura isn't trying to fool us again, like Versus 13 and KH3 of we're gonna make the HUD guy animate, which he did in both of those near the start. And I'm like, it's so weird. We got our command bar, which looks nice, completely new looking here. I like how one of them is like lifted up off this. We got particles coming out of it. We got attack, we got magic, we got item, and we got build. That is our fourth command now. It's not link, it's not summon, it's not drive. It is build, which I guess we could maybe extrapolate what it is based entirely upon some of the tools Sora's going to be using in this tutorial-esque fight here, which of course is they said it's real time. Of course, a lot of people are going to be like, it's all fake. There are some aspects of it that are very much in step with stuff in Kingdom Hearts 3, so it's kind of like a hybrid for me. So it's a different situation than, say, the gameplay we saw for KH3 on Luminous in 2013. And like the 2015 showing of FF7 Remake that they were doing when CyberConnect was making it, where I'm like, I don't really have a reference to the gameplay that we're seeing, so it's hard to parse. But this is stuff where I'm like, this is stuff I did in Kingdom Hearts 3, like minor parts where I'm like, I can link this all together and go, yeah, this game's gonna come out a lot faster than KH3 did. But let's get into more of it. So he goes and does an immediate like jump here. So I was gonna see if he like just he just kind of like snaps to it. So a lot of this stuff, like, I imagine is just like automatic. And we'll see how that goes in the final game years from now. But he goes for like a flow motion, like zip. And this is kind of like an auto run thing. I wouldn't be shocked if this is entirely on rails, similar to like in Olympus in KH3, how you would jump between like rocks in the Rock Titan fight as he jumped up to the next area right at the start. So he does a bunch of jumps here. And then we start seeing the new tech, which I wouldn't be shocked is the new build thing, but it also might be the next iteration of Air Step, where he takes the Keyblade's keychain and warps it into this to grapple and hook shot onto different objects in an attempt to get up higher and closer. It immediately transitions to wall running up, and this is the type of stuff where I'm like, you can do this in KH3 already. So it's like, you can kind of see them like, they're not making everything from scratch, which I think is really great because it'll make the game actually come out a lot faster and also adds to some realism of this being kind of real. Also, you can kind of tell it's real time. There's like hair dithering and not everything looks perfect here in the same way I feel like many things would tend to look a bit more perfect in their target render type videos when they would reveal a game. Where I'm like, this is great, but that HUD you just put in post, you know? So they do a jump in here, and then this is directly the type of shit you did in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, if you're on any slope, this is the position you would take and you would slide down. Also, this is generally like a versus 13 type of, like you're in the destructible building type of stuff. So he jumps in, and we do some sort of quick time event. And then we go into what is literally what we've seen throughout all of Kingdom Hearts 3. Which are lavish finishing moves you hit with the triangle button. This one, it feels like it's just like nano arms from KH3, where you end it, it makes a big fist, he brings it up, aims it, and fires it. So if I think of it in that context, I'm like, it's basically the same thing. It's doing that, it's doing some impact damage. So it feels good that the gameplay overall feels like something achievable. It feels like something that is familiar in terms of the scope and animations, where I'm like, I recognize these from normal gameplay because it gives me more confidence on that type of stuff in the game. And the trailer's essentially done in terms of gameplay at this point. We get to see two cloaked people. People are wondering who's voicing this. I'm unaware of who it is. I thought some people thinking it might be young Xehanort, but I feel like his story's done, so I would have to wonder what's going on with any of that. Then we cut to this, which is the Underworld, which I think it's hilarious that Donald and Goofy are like, we're going to search hell for Sora. They're like, he might be dead, so I guess we can check down here. But to be fair, they said, Riku said in badly delivered dialogue that Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are searching for every world Sora has been to for a hint of him. So going here makes sense. Nomura's also said he likes Hades quite a bit as a character in the KH3 Ultimania. So that explains why they chose the Underworld for this trailer. Also, it's some good integration. And then we have the good drop of like this tells you everything you need to know about who it is. That and I generally recognized almost immediately. I had to I double checked for the reaction video, but that was 100% Hades, just Japanese voice wise, because I remember trailers of him from that. I like there's some like squash and stretch type of stuff with Donald where his legs like shoot up. I don't know if I can get a. Yeah, it's like right as he jumps, they stretch. I saw like a Twitter post that just showed them. It was pretty funny. And then they put Magic in the Making, which I feel like is a better way of saying now in development. The people will be less annoying about. But yeah, overall this looked really nice. We're gonna roll it back again here. But that's kind of like all I can glean out of a trailer like this. It's not like we can go for hours and hours. So at this point, I guess I would talk a little bit about my my thoughts overall. I'm incredibly positive and excited. I mean, of course, this is my favorite series of all time, and I'm getting another big game in that series. Like, of course, like, what a shock. But I think some of the things they're doing here just is kind of the things that I wanted. And things maybe I didn't even know I wanted. You know, we're getting hints of a new Disney World that is going to be exciting. We have this brand new logo that is entirely that has an entirely like different vibe to it than the other one did. And then of course we have this photorealistic looking Sora. Sora is more in step with modern Final Fantasy characters now in general aesthetic, which is cool. And it's giving the game more of an identity. Of course, this leads to excitement of Riku straight up went to Quadratum at the end of Melody of Memory. So I can't wait to see his general look in this style. Same with any other characters that might show up, but who knows who will end up showing up? Who knows if they will do Disney interludes of the older Disney characters and just them trying to find Sora that builds to a plot over there. Who knows how they're going to present that? Who knows if Pete and Maleficent are going to show up, and it'd be so fucking funny. But I love that my favorite series of all time is stepping out of a comfort zone almost in a way, where it's like it's not the cartoony look anymore. It's this realistic look. I know there are probably some people going who I imagine would go, I can't believe Kingdom Hearts is abandoning everything and chasing visual fidelity or like realism or stuff. But I'm like, this just looks perfect for the series. I don't really know what to tell you. It's meant to be stark. It's meant to be different. But I imagine we'll see other Disney stuff in there, and it's still gonna have the heart of these games. I'm just immensely happy with how this looks. It feels so fresh. It feels so fresh and new and exciting. And I guess I'll talk about when I think this type of game is going to come out, I guess. This discussion, I don't feel like having too much with people because it just got announced, right? But I guess we could do a little bit here, and then we'll close the video. This is not going to take 6 years the way Kingdom Hearts 3 did. The reason I'm saying that is because Kingdom Hearts 3 started on a completely different engine. And they were getting experience with HD game development. This is a team that their last game was a 3DS game. Then over a year in, had to abandon the engine, every single piece of work they did to then learn Unreal Engine 4. Then had to do all of that, make a massive game in HD game development. And now we have a Kingdom Hearts 4 that is using that same engine, is then going to transition it to the newer version of it, which, as Epic has said, is an incredibly easy process of transitioning, and is the most popular engine in the world now. And they're reusing a ton of assets. They've made a massive chunk of the city in this trailer in a DLC that you probably played in January of 2020. And many of the mechanics thrown in this trailer are like shown in KH3, whether it's like sliding down things. The chain shoot uses the same sound effects and stuff as some of the Master Xehanort data fight in Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. And even just there's a lot of stuff here that is reminiscent of KH3, where it's like they're clearly like reusing a lot of stuff. So I have confidence that they're going to be able to get this game out a lot faster than the last one. Of course, that would involve me going, what is your guess? And my guess would be 2024 on this game. That feels fairly reasonable. They wrapped on Kingdom Hearts 3 toward the end of 2018, and then the game properly came out at the very beginning of 2019. And I'm sure not all of them worked on the DLC and started some level of pre-production on this, given how much they're using it for 4. And then I feel like, that development cycle of like 4 or 5 years kind of makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. It doesn't feel like inappropriate for it taking that long, right? That's just like my take. But yeah, I feel like 2024 is like it's like the thing to shoot for. I would imagine like quarter 1. And if COVID really caused major problems with the game, then we would probably push it off to at the very end of 2024. But I could totally see them having a bit of an easier time here compared to what they had done before, because they don't have to deal with that type of stuff. I know a lot of people like to say all their games have development problems, and then ignore half of the reasons behind things because the nuance on the internet is dead, or actually thinking it at all. But I feel like we're in a good spot. But overall, this game looks exciting. I'm really pumped for it. I guess if people wanted my thoughts on like the other 2 games they announced, Dark Road, I'm excited to see where the plot goes for that. I'm not entirely sold on the new mobile game yet, because it seems to be this weird hybrid between the Pokemon Go location stuff and traditional Kingdom Hearts story stuff, and also it's clearly going to be a gacha game with those statues. We'll see. I'm excited to see where they go with the story in that. It's supposed to be a bridge between Union Cross and Dark Road timeline-wise. So that is interesting. It feels like they're building out a second series on their own just based on that type of content. We'll have to see how that goes. I'll of course try the beta. I mean, I'm getting a new phone. Like, I'm getting a new phone today. It's gonna arrive later today, so I'll check that out. Apparently that's happening in the fall, which makes sense. Dark Road is wrapping in August, which is, around that fall area. So that also is exciting. So to catch people up, because I haven't done a video on this channel in a bit that hasn't been like a supercut or something. I've done some transitions to some of the content that I do in general. I'm now like a full-time streamer, I guess. That's why my main channel, I've turned this into KZXcellent highlights, where I put up my where I generally put up supercut content my editor makes, right, of streams, and that's been a lot of fun. And my main content is streaming, which the full VODs are up on the channel called KZXcellent, which is KZXcellent.com. But I thought I'd let people know about that. So if you're interested in future content from me, which will include an upcoming later this year Kingdom Hearts Marathon, where we will go through all of the games once again in the Dark Seeker Saga, a complete saga that we'll need to prep ourselves for the Lost Master arc. People are interested in that, they can check out my stream. KZXcellent.live is where you're going to want to go for that. I'm currently running a fundraiser every single day that I'm streaming, as I am working on moving at the end of next month. So any help with that is always appreciated. But that's all the shilling I have for you today. If you like my content, you can subscribe here, and you'll be getting some cool super good content every single week. I'm going to be getting back to that. You can also check out my podcast stuff that happens over on gigaboots.com. And of course, my streams at KZXcellent.live. You can check my Twitter, twitter.com/KZXcellent, where I'll probably still be tweeting about this game and my excitement for it. And yeah, KZXcellent.com for my stream VODs and stuff. I'm gonna try and keep that up to date. I've been falling behind recently. Had a rough couple of weeks, but we're feeling pretty good now, especially with cool video games like this getting shown. Anyway, I've held you for over 33 minutes. There are going to be people looking on their feed, and random people will probably get this video suggested going, what the fuck? This man talked about a 2.5-minute trailer for 35 minutes. And then I'll be like, yeah, I did. I could do it for an hour if I wanted to just talk about the themes, talk about the excitement of seeing a series that I have been with since I was turning 10, and now I am turning 30, and it's entering a new frontier. It's an exciting time. But thank you guys so much for your support through watching my stuff on any avenue that you may do. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon, somewhere, somehow, some way. Exciting times ahead.